when did you both meet? I'm curious. I actually don't know. Yeah, and tell the story about when you first met, if you.
I think Charlie is better at that.
Okay, yeah.
So,
Well, I was in school in Kentucky. There's a long story behind that, so I don't think we have time to explore that.
No, we do. We do. We have time.
Okay, I
Take
grew
your
up. I grew up doing very poorly at school. I was sent to a right-wing yeshiva Zichron Moshe, on Jessup Avenue in the Bronx. And I wasn't the kid that you could force feed. If you explained something to me, it had a logical basis, and there was a reason to do it, I would do it. But if you just attempted to jam it down my throat, I wouldn't do it. And when you add to the mix physical abuse, you're allowed to hit kids in the school.
How do they hit kids? Like with a ruler or?
The ruler,
Yeah.
one teacher had a rubber dagger, like a play dagger, about a foot long, that he would smack you on the back of the head with to get your attention. And I was a kid you couldn't do that to. So I basically shut down, remained in the yeshiva through the 5th grade. 6th grade I entered public school. 7th grade I went to junior high, where I was tested for reading and found that I was 4 years behind my grade level. Through some circumstances, a teacher that I thought was an old fuddy-duddy, but an old maid from Massachusetts, who had a very proper accent and was roundly criticized and made fun of by the kids behind their back, went to bat for me with the academic committee and said that I should be put into an academic class. I was, out of 18 classes on the 7th grade, I was in the 17th. I was in the next to the last class. Back then they ranked classes by academic achievement. I got into high school, went to Taft High School. I lived a block away. Wasn't particularly social, had a few close friends, and that was it. Didn't go out much. Didn't do well in school. Graduated Taft with a 70 average. Got into Bronx Community College by the skin of my teeth. Went there for 2 years. Wasn't able to complete foreign language requirements, so I didn't get into City. Couldn't continue my education at City. Went to work for a year and a half, and then decided that.
What line of work did you do for a year and a half?
I was working in a factory.
Okay. Like an assembly line?
Unskilled.
Okay.
It was packaging orders to be shipped out, and shipping mainly, packaging and shipping. Didn't require any brain work.
who's that uncle?
That was Uncle Sam's, my uncle's business. He was generous enough to take me and pay me to do what he probably didn't have to pay me to. So I decided that if I was going to get ahead, I had to complete a degree, and found a clearinghouse that you could put an application in, and they would make it available to groups of colleges around the country. So you didn't have to go spending money to apply to each school individually. And I got into half a dozen schools. The best was University of Pittsburgh, but I couldn't afford it there. It was too expensive. So I opted to go to a school in Appalachia, in Barberville, Kentucky, where They were fully accredited by the Northeast and the Mid-States accreditation agencies. So I didn't have to worry about getting the degree recognized if I was going any further or any other place. And I went for a year to Barberville, Kentucky, to Union College, where instead of averaging 2.0, which is what I averaged at Bronx Community, I averaged 3.8 out of 4. And got into City College. I asked the college in Kentucky, Union College, for a scholarship. So I was, in addition to having very good grades there, I was running a volunteer program in Appalachia called the Appalachian Volunteers, coincidentally. And we were refurbishing schoolhouses off the beaten track in the places that you couldn't reach by car, you needed Jeep, or you had to go on foot to get back to these communities. Very, very poor communities. And that's where I was in school at the time that I met Vivian.
And so, were you also born in 1943?
42.
42. And so, okay, so what was it like being a Jewish guy from the Bronx in Appalachia? Like, had you heard of anyone who had done anything like this? What was it like just being there? Was it a culture shock?
Well, it was culture shock to some extent when okay. So in the school itself, in my school, in Union College, I didn't run into any anti-Semitism at all. Basically, nobody knew that I was Jewish. It was a non-issue because everybody in the university, the college, were Methodists. It was a Methodist-affiliated school. And when I tried to get a scholarship, they said we only give scholarships to ministerial students. That's why I left and went back to City College and finished up there. But I didn't run into any anti-Semitism at all. It was a culture shock for me when first summer, it was the only summer I was down there. I went into a community in Mills Creek, Kentucky, where the wealthy families in the community were coal miners who earned hard cash every week. Terrible job, but they earned money. And the other people in the community were farmers, very poor. The only money crop they had was tobacco, but the federal government regulated how much tobacco you could grow and froze the production at a level that existed in the early 1800s. So that basically on a 100-acre farm, you might have a plot of land 30 feet by 100 feet that you could put tobacco in, and the rest of the crops were non-tobacco. So I spent one summer living with a family in Appalachia, in Mills Creek, and it was a culture shock, to say the least. We were teaching, part of the program was to teach remedial courses for the students in the community. And we used the church as the location to teach. And they had a preacher come every other week to preach. And the first week that they were going to have Christian services in the building, in the church, we decided we'd clean it up, we being myself and the other volunteers who were in there. So we cleaned out this space, cleaned up all the benches and the pews, And we found at the end of the pews rusted metal tins from coffee and other products. And we said, this stuff is disgusting. It's all coated, smelly and dirty. So we took all of those and we threw them out. When they had their church service, they realized they didn't have anything any spittoons to spit the tobacco juice out. They were chewing tobacco because we had thrown away their spittoons, not realizing that it was a useful tool for them to have in their church.
Before we go, just talk about, I guess your Parkinson's a little, because I think that's something not a lot of people know about. And I've known you throughout your life I always, you're my great uncle, and I would always see you in Safka's backyard doing Tai Chi and things like that. And I always, as a kid, I thought you were like hunting for snakes or something.
Did I catch any?
Maybe. So anyway, I was just hoping you could talk about what that experience was like for you. Just any thoughts you have on anything you'd want to share on it, being someone I've always seen as very physically capable, and now dealing with this, and what you might want people to know about that experience.
Well, the most difficult thing to deal with Parkinson's is not the physical. It's the physical and the mental where they meet. So my ability to absorb information and to organize it logically and to speak effectively has been damaged, so that I can no longer go to get up in front of a group of people and develop and present an interesting presentation of a topic. I lose things mentally. That's much more disturbing than not being able to do Tai Chi or go horseback riding. I miss doing those things. I miss going horseback riding and skiing in the winter. But they don't impact my life as much as not being able to get up in front of a class and teach. In addition to being a trial lawyer, where I made my living by speaking, by presenting facts, I also taught young lawyers how to try cases as part of a program run by the National Institute of Trial Advocacy. Not being able to have that ability is like a piece of your personality being excised.
Do you both feel like, and each of you can answer, do you feel like life goes slow or life goes fast?
I'll answer both questions at the same time. The answer is yes.
Both.
It goes fast and it goes slow. There are times where it seems excruciatingly slow, and then you look back and it seems like half a lifetime has gone by in a flash. I think that's that way for a lot of people.
Since Marilyn passed away, it seems there's very little time left.
Like, what do you mean by that? Like, say more. Why does it seem like
Marilyn was 84. 84 is coming up quickly.
Any last words you guys want to say to conclude the interview?
We should end on a good note.
So what's like maybe
Let's ask. It's Thanksgiving, right? This is such a nice time to interview you. What are you guys thankful for?
We have a very supportive family. Very, very, very supportive. And it's close, and it's good. And I think maybe we're different that way. That, you know, if something was wrong, we I guess we don't keep a grudge. Whatever it is, we're all there together. And I think we're fortunate. I have my brother, my sister's families, and our children enjoy each other. Our children and our grandchildren know, and we've done that a bit in Charlie's family too. You know, we're in contact with everybody.
Ditto.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
for speaking.
Such a deep, sincere conversation.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys being here.